Video, Purple Political Talk here, and today we're going to be looking at the 2020 presidential election and looking at what would be Joe Biden's best case scenario. So in his best case scenario, what states would go to him by what margins? So I'm just going to start by filling in our safe states. There's going to be some additions, and then for the Democrats, and there are going to be some subtraction from the safe states for the Republicans. And I'm going to be saying that honestly, I think that this election would be really interesting if we see a very big best case scenario for Joe Biden, and it's looking pretty likely we're going to be seeing something like this. So this best case scenario has been kind of thrown around, I guess, since the beginning of the election season. It's truly always thrown around that early, but at the end of the day, I think that we're getting closer to a point where this actually might happen because of all the protests, because of the coronavirus, and all these different things that affected the Trump campaign. And I think the Biden campaign, all they have to really do is win the Rust Belt, and really just win the Rust Belt in Arizona, maybe, if it can't win those states. And I think those are all our states except maybe the state of West Virginia and Indiana. So, yeah, that is it. So, let's begin with this prediction. And I mean, looking at this map, Democrats have a huge advantage. Whereas Republicans need to get 169 votes, electoral votes, to win the election in this best case scenario, which is, again, pretty hard to do when a candidate is running on super momentum and things like that. But again, this just kind of thing, the biggest thing that needs to happen is that Joe Biden learns how to campaign a little more and has to be a little bit more charismatic and relate to the voters a little more. I mean, if you see something like a Donald Trump rally, all the people there are super fired up to be there. And when you look at a Joe Biden rally, it's not like the voters aren't enthusiastic. It's just that you don't see the same level of enthusiasm with the candidates and the voters themselves. So, and I think also the VP candidate choice will be a big impact. I'm going to do a video on that today, and also I'm going to be doing a video on the individual states today, and today's state is the state of Florida. So, looking at this map, where does Joe Biden go and get his likely states? The Rust Belt. That's an easy question. It's the Rust Belt and Arizona. So, these states, I'm going to tell you why I think these are the first states to go to Joe Biden in his best case scenario, and why they go by a likely margin. So, a lot of these states, they're already going by 3 to 5 points. Even like in the case of like Michigan, it's expected right now to go by 7 points, maybe. Let's assume that these high best case scenario, they help them out super like by bigger margins. Let's say they help them and push them up 5 points. A state like Arizona goes up to 8 points. Minnesota goes up to like 10 points. A state like Wisconsin goes up to like 6 points, which is still in the likely margin. Michigan goes up to like 14 points. And Pennsylvania could go up to about 12 points. So these states already trending Democratic. And just with that extra little push for a best case scenario, we could easily be seeing a big landslide victory for Joe Biden. Another state that I think would go by a likely rating is the state of New Hampshire. Even in my regular predictions, when I factor in not like a crazy scenario or things like that, I see that the state of New Hampshire is looking like it would be in a best case scenario, even in the safe state. But I would refrain from doing that a little bit because it was the closest state in 2016, or one of the closest. So at this point, I feel comfortable putting it in the likely margin. And in a best case scenario for Joe Biden, it would go by 15 points or something like that. So where are the Republicans getting their likely states? Mississippi, Alabama, and South Carolina. That's it. These 3 states in the South, they're not more of the Republicans winning them because they're swing states. It's more the Democrats are gaining ground in those states. In the best case scenario, we're going to see super high African American turnout and super high, especially in the South, like white working class appeal and working class voters in general, not only the white voters. But in the South, that is a big predominant groups. You have the white working class and the white not college diplomas, because that's mostly what the South is, and African American voters. While the majority in parts of like the Midwest are also that type of people, but in the South you already have those more conservative ideals. So in the South you're gonna have to see a lot more narrowing down, but still at the end of the day it's probably gonna go by 10 to 15 points. Looking at the states that are left, where is our Democratic lean states. At this point, I think the two only Democratic lean states in Joe Biden's best case scenario would be the state of North Carolina, Florida, and possibly Iowa. I feel these three states are they could go to the Democratic Party easily if it were a regular scenario. I mean, I currently predict Iowa and Florida to go to the Republican Party in a regular scenario, but in a regular scenario, I would predict North Carolina to go by a lean margin or by a tilt margin. So these states will move into the lean margin, which is like 3 to 5 points, which is pretty good for some states after having swing like almost 10 points in the state of Iowa and like 5 points in the state of North Carolina and Florida, which again is pretty good for the Democratic Party. And assuming that these things approve this best case scenario just swings it like 5 points. I mean, these states that went narrowly for Donald Trump, we already have what they have ahead right now, which I mean, North Carolina is a little behind for Donald Trump, for Joe Biden right now, but I can easily see that going to him. And after you factor all the different things in, it's about 5 points. I mean, it would be in the 1 to 5% range. I think the states of North Carolina and Florida would be a lot further to the left than the state of Iowa. Where is one state that I think would go into a lean margin if for the Republican Party if it's a best case scenario, and that would be the state of Georgia. The state of Texas, my bad. Look, the state of Texas could get as close as you guys want. I understand there's going to be very different types of turnout this election season. Whether it be high African American turnout, high suburban turnout, high working class turnout. And honestly, these things really affect the state of Texas. But I don't think that in a best case scenario, Joe Biden will be able to win this state. I think in a best case scenario, I would put it in the lean margin because I think he could get it down to from 1 to 2 points. Which for the state of Texas, again, we saw a Senate race that was from 2 to 3 points. Now moving it down that 1 more percent is a lot. It's very big in the presidential election because remember, guys, in a presidential election, you're not just focusing on one state. You're focusing on the entire of the United States. So that means that you're gonna have to kind of manage your time wisely and decide where you go campaign. While someone like Beto O'Rourke spent its whole time campaigning in Texas, while you're campaigning for a nationwide race, it's a little bit harder. So I think Joe Biden will, in his best case scenario, could narrow it down probably 2 points. I mean, the only way I kind of see it happening and going for him is that if he breaks his promises and chooses someone like Beto O'Rourke for vice president, which I don't think he should do. But other than that, I think it would go by narrowly to the Republican Party in his best case scenario. Now, when it comes to the seats of the two districts up here, I think these two districts, I think Nebraska's 2nd congressional district, I could actually see it going to Joe Biden by a lean margin in his best case scenario. This district is going to be pretty close this time, and it wasn't that close in 2016, but with extended turnout, with especially in the urban area, because remember, this district is an urban district. It has the cities of Omaha and Lincoln, Nebraska, which essentially makes up a big part of that state's population in that small district. So I think that honestly, this district could go to Joe Biden probably by 2 to 3 points. I mean, it's pretty remarkable for a best case scenario. And honestly, I think we could easily see a landslide here. Maine's district here, I think it'll go to the Republicans narrowly. By a lean margin. Because this district, I expect it to be pretty much a conservative district. I could see it getting down to 1 point, but I don't think Joe Biden will be able to win that district in the state of Maine. When it comes to the last two states, I think these two states, if it's Joe Biden's base case scenario, these two states would go by 2 margins. Georgia and Ohio. Well, we can say that these two states, at this point in time, they've set big ceilings for different candidates. We saw a senator from Ohio get reelected, a Democrat. I mean, he was the incumbent and everything, but still, he got reelected, and that shows that there still is a base for Democrats in Ohio. If Joe Biden can get this exceptional turnout, I mean, he could probably win it by less than 1%. Same thing in the state of Georgia. I mean, they got close in 2018 with the Georgia governor's race, but that was because they also had a candidate specifically running for that race. And honestly, in his best case scenario, I can see him nearly winning and beating Donald Trump in the state. And a reason for that is that Georgia likes an establishment Republican. They don't like someone like Donald Trump. Some of them do, because it's also the southern population really likes Donald Trump in some areas. But generally, the state of Georgia, they like someone more like a Mitt Romney, a more traditional Republican. Again, I'm not saying it's impossible for Donald Trump to win there, because certainly if this was my regular prediction, a lot of these states wouldn't be filled in for the Democratic Party. But since this would be Joe Biden's best case scenario, I think Georgia and Ohio would be going. So guys, this is my final prediction for the best case scenario for Joe Biden: 164 for the Republicans and 374 for the Democrats. I'm going to be doing this video, but favoring the Republicans next time, so the Republicans' best case scenario. I'm also going to be posting a state-by-state analysis with the state of Florida, and probably going to do another state. I'm not sure which one yet. And guys, I want to thank all of you for reaching 80 subscribers, and honestly, I'm really happy for that. And I'm going to be releasing the results for our subscriber decided election night and our pre-giveaway, and what I'm going to be giving away when I reach 100 subscribers. So, yeah, it's going to be a very interesting road down the road, and we're going to see how this channel grows. Guys, I want to thank all of you for watching. Like and subscribe, and please give it a huge thumbs up.